Alright, now that we have the two arms, two legs, and torso, we can connect the 5 objects together. Okay, when you connect objects in Maya, right now each of these are separate objects, and mine are showing up with black wireframe, yours will show up with green wireframe. Okay, when you select 2 objects, the second object turns white, or the last, and then the 2 objects are white now. The last object you select, will be green, and then the rest of them will turn white. So I could combine them as now at this point, but I can wait. I'm gonna wait because first I'd like to just select the arms and legs and select this isolate selection button so that it hides my torso. This way I can go in, have an easier way of seeing these inside 4 faces because I need to delete them. So I go to each object, switch to face mode, select the faces and delete them. When you weld objects together, there can't be any faces on the inside. Okay, with that done, now I'm going to select my torso, and right here, because we have 8 faces going around the arm, we need to have 8 faces to connect to here. So to find the 8 faces, or edges really, we find 4 faces to get those from. So I have 4 faces here, and I'm going to extrude them, and then switch to the scale tool, and scale this down to this as close as I can to the size and shape of my arm, and the location. Okay, once I've got that, I just hit delete, and that deleted those 4 faces. So now I have an opening for this arm to go into. But still, at this point, I can't connect the vertices because they are separate objects. So to make them one object, the 2 models go to Mesh, Combine. Now, these are one object, and these 3 are still separate. I'll connect them later. At this point, if you still wanted to move your arm, you could go to face mode and double click it. You could pull it out. You could double click your torso and move it as a whole, but I think I like them how they are. So now I want to snap these vertices down to these vertices. So there are a couple ways you can do that. If I select the vertice, press the V key, then click the middle here, this vertice is going to snap to the vertices around it. So I just need to move it until right there. It snapped on that vertice. Okay, now I can do that again here. I just hold down the V key, click and drag. Or I could press the magnet with the point, which is snap to point, and that's the same thing as pressing the V key, and then move around and snap them. This one needs to be moved out of the way, so I'm going to turn off snap, move it down, go to wireframe so I can see this vertice, turn on snap, shade it again, and move it to where it needs to go. Okay, so in doing this part is not connecting the 2 vertices. They're just snapping into the same position. And hide this. Okay, so now I'll turn off snap. Right now I have a menu here that shows how many vertices and edges I have selected. So when I just click and select, I've selected just 1 vertice, but when I click and drag, I've now selected 2 vertices. If your click and drag is too broad, you might select more vertices. To get this menu to show up, I went to Display, Heads Up Display, Poly Count. Okay, so I wanted to select the 2 vertices, and then I go to Edit Mesh, Merge. Now they are 1 vertice, and when I select this, it moves both sides. Okay, so then that needs to be repeated going all the way around. This is also this button for merge, and I could also now hit G to repeat the command. So I'm going around and connecting those vertices. Okay, so now that they're connected, I might need to make some adjustments to the shape of my arm and where it connects to the torso. In modeling, you're going to be always making adjustments as you go, as you add parts to other parts, and just slowly bringing in the detail that you need. Okay? Now I'll pause this and go ahead and do that to my other arm. Excuse me. I thought I could show another way to do this. There are always several different ways to go about doing something, and I can't teach all of them. And so online tutorials is a great way to find different ways of doing things. But if I go to Edit Mesh, Merge Vertex Tool, it creates these circles. So if I just select the first vertex and then go to the second one, it now snaps the vertex into that location and then merges the two vertices. Okay, sometimes this operation is easier than the other way, and sometimes I find it more difficult. For example, here, if I do this, it might get complicated. Now I have overlapping geometry that I need to move and adjust in order to work out. Okay, again, there could be some more adjustment there. Moving down to the legs, you might find it easier to use these four edge faces here, but I'm going to use these four because I want a space between the legs. And we just extrude, switch to the scale tool, bring it down to the size, rough size of the leg, and then delete it, and then combine the two objects, mesh, combine, and then snap the vertices and weld them together. Okay, I've taken about 20 minutes to weld these legs and do some more adjusting. I like the way it looks smoothed and unsmoothed. You could spend forever tweaking all of these vertices around, but this is a good enough point to move on. Okay, we need to do the head. With the head, it also needs to have 12 faces going around. I'm going to start though with a basic cube, just like we have with every other side. Okay, move it and shape it with what edges you have. Okay, and then I'm ready to insert an edge loop, and then I'm going to use that new detail ability to move these. Okay, with the, I'll add a little neck here. Don't forget to switch to the other views, take advantage of the few amount of vertices that you still have, and move it while it's still simple. Okay, then I'm going to insert an edge loop down that way, build it out. So it's really just a lot of inserting edge loop, moving the vertices, scaling it around. Don't let your shapes stay too square. These edges are probably too harsh. I'll just take these, scale them in. There, now it's more rounded. Okay, it does kind of have a flatter face. Okay, I'll take this one, scale it out a little bit. Okay, when we get to the nose area, let's see, we can get the two more edge loops, which will make 12 here. So again, that's 12 going around this direction. Just real quickly get that to a good point. Okay, now I have Right here I have a good spot to bring out the nose. I'm going to use the extrude tool. There's a button for it there. I'm going to pull out the nose. Okay, and I can insert another edge loop here. This will give me detail for the cheeks. Okay, maybe I need to insert edge loops here. Okay, and before long this is gonna get pretty square here, so I need to remember to move the edge loops I have, use the vertices I have, and get it to look perfect if you can, before adding more detail. Okay, so round that out a little bit. Okay, round out the top. Okay, now for this character, we can use spheres for his eyes. We'll just place them inside of his head a little bit. It wouldn't hurt to reduce some of the geometry. This is a lot of polygons, so I'll take this down to 8, and I'm going to rotate it this way, duplicate it. Okay, even though these are 3 separate models, I could still merge them or do the mesh combine. I bring up this menu when I hold down the spacebar. It's the same menus as what's up here. And then now the eyes are part of the character, and they didn't have to be welded together. And that's an okay situation for these eyes because of the way that this character was created. But you'll want to connect the head the same way we connected the arms and legs. And then with the ears and the tail, you could do the same thing as we did with the eyes, where you just model it and then have it go inside the part of the model and then combine them all. So in the end you need to have this all one character. Okay, I want to demonstrate quickly one more way to do some modeling, and that's with the ear. Okay, another way you can model that's besides using a cube is to use a plane. So if I go to front view and I have the plane tool, you can create a plane here, and it's 1/6 of a cube. It's just one flat plane. Okay, because this also has 4 sides and it's very simple. And then I start general, go to specific, can move these vertices around to the shape I want. Okay, I could edit mesh, insert edge loop, adjust that. Okay, and then another thing you can do is when you're in the edge mode, you can also extrude in edge mode. So if I go to edit mesh, extrude, now I could push this out. So that makes the front fold of the ear. And you can shape it that way. Doing this keeps it simple, but eventually we want, once I've modeled out all the detail I'm looking for, you'll still want to be able to have thickness to this. So to get the thickness, you go to object mode, select the object, and then go to edit mesh, extrude. This time you will use the tool that the extrude gives you. I'll grab this blue arrow and move it either in or out, and that will make thickness to your ear. Okay, it's a lot easier to do this at the very end once you've decided that the ear shape is the shape that you're looking for. Okay, so again I can select these two, do edit, or excuse me, mesh, combine. Now they're one model. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Again, connect the head to the body like we did the arms and the legs. And that's it for the pig model. Okay, I will create a post showing how to, or demonstrating how I want it displayed and posted on the blog. Okay, hopefully this was helpful. Thank you.